At the top of the news tonight, former Judge Paula-Mae Weekes is now officially the President-elect of Trinidad and Tobago. Parliament's Electoral College met on Friday, and since there was only one nominee, she was declared the President-elect by House Speaker Bridget Anisette George.
I hereby declare Ms. Paula-Mae Weekes elected President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Ms. Weekes is a retired judge of the local appeal court and in February last year was sworn in for 3 years as a Justice of Appeal in the Turks and Caicos Islands. She had been the 5th female judge in the High Court of TNT when appointed to its criminal division in 1996. Earning her degree at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill and a legal education certificate from the Hugh Wooding Law School St. Augustine, she was called to the bar in 1982. She served 11 years at the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions and then entered private practice in 1993. Ms. Weekes was also a lecturer in ethics. She is a former student of Bishop Anstey High School in Port of Spain. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has hailed the new President-elect, Justice Paula-Mae Weekes, as a living example that nothing is beyond our reach. Dr. Rowley was speaking in Parliament following the convening of the Electoral College to declare Justice Weekes President-elect. Sherilyn Lewis reports.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said, as a young nation, we can be proud of the fact that our governance systems are open to all citizens, specifically women.
The tapestry of our nation's history is woven with life threads of many formidable women who have helped this nation to develop, to thrive, to overcome, and to soar. While many of them may have been well known and their names recorded in history books, countless others would have in the past and continue each and every day to do human service in helping to build our nation in their homes, on the sporting fields, at their places of work, and throughout their communities.
Additionally, the Prime Minister hailed the President-elect as a source of pride for all women and girls in the country and said the job of President does hold significance in the overall governance of TNT.
As the 6th holder of the office of President, Justice Weekes will have the benefit of respective legacies of those who went before her. She will be able to draw from their good examples and learn from their mistakes, taking from whatever she can as to effectively dispatch her duties as head of state of Trinidad and Tobago. This joyous occasion of her coming into office should not only be a source of pride for all of us, but should provide us with an impetus to reflect on ourselves, to quietly and inwardly examine our own thoughts, our own purposes and actions, to see how we measure to the sterling qualities brought to us by Justice Paula-Mae Weekes.
The Prime Minister stated that Justice Weekes is most suited to carry her duties and bring calm and confidence to our national governance.
The fact that Justice Weekes is unopposed as the sole nominee is a clear indication of this, and I thank all my colleagues on both sides of this for your cooperation and collaboration in this commendable outcome.
The Prime Minister also lauded Justice Weekes as a jurist and judicial educator. She will become the 1st female president and 6th president overall the country has had. Sherilyn Lewis, C News.
And following the declaration of Justice Paula-Mae Weekes as President-elect, opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar described this moment as an historical one in which women should feel proud.
My esteemed colleagues, today is truly a historic one for our country. For the first time in the history of our republic, Trinidad and Tobago has elected its 1st woman to serve as our nation's president. Madam Chair, today as I stand to give support to a distinguished daughter of our soil, it cannot go unnoticed that we usher in a president-elect in the very week that our grateful nation paid tribute to a former head of state, our 4th president, Professor George Maxwell Richards.
Further, Mrs. Persad-Bissessar said that Ms. Weekes should draw inspiration from the late 4th President of the Republic, Professor George Maxwell Richards, and his many strides.
to fairness and impartiality of the late Professor Richards and his predecessors. On behalf of the opposition, I wish to welcome President-elect Weekes and express our confidence that she will discharge her duties and responsibilities as our head of state impartially and with compassion, striving at all times to enhance our democracy.
Meanwhile, Speaker of the House, Bridget Anisette George, extended congratulations to outgoing President Anthony Carmona for giving of himself in service to Trinidad and Tobago. During his speech following the convening of the Electoral College, the House Speaker also thanked President Carmona's family for their tolerance, patience, and self-denial.
Being ever mindful of the fact that his two children, Christian and Anura, would have transformed from children into adolescents under the microscope of public scrutiny, and who were required to share the urgings and demands of having the society of their father with the demands and trappings of his office.
Speaker Anisette George also expressed her delight in sharing in the historic occasion of Trinidad and Tobago electing its first female president.
Not only was there one nominee, but that nomination of Ms. Paula-Mae Weekes was proposed by members of both sides of the House well, and this has not escaped the attention of our nation as one of the occasions of participatory democracy and cooperation at work.